So Libras, welcome back. Listen, all week I'm going to be doing some readings where I'm going to really focus heavily on kind of a more freestyle, artistic style of reading, and using different decks that are reflective of more creativity and more of the artistic mind. So bear with me because we're going to kind of delve heavily into symbolism this week. It's one of my favorite things. This is the art of storytelling is the way I look at this. And so I'm going to actually go quiet on you right now. And I'm going to this will be a more abstract style of reading. So you may love it. You may hate it, whatever it is, that's all right. I like to mix it up and I always do something different on my channel. It's just the way I am. So bear with me or click off if it doesn't suit you. I completely respect your decision either way, but I'm going to go quiet on you for just a moment, and whatever images pop into my head, I'm going to roll with. And then when I feel compelled to start shuffling cards, I'll be using a deck that I will only use in the upright. So let's see where we go with this. All right, you guys. And if you hear noises back there, that's my dog with his dog toy. All right. So not paying attention to my dog here for just a moment. Okay. So I immediately see a couch, like an old fashioned kind of a couch. It almost like a grandmother's couch, something that would be like maybe from the 40s, the 50s, kind of floral pattern, not super plush. And there's sunlight coming across the couch. It's, I would say, early morning. Someone is sitting in the shadowy side of the couch, but it's as if they're getting ready to depart, but they're talking to someone. They're having some kind of a conversation. There's something that somebody is particularly, like they're talking to their elders. They're explaining something to someone. And it seems like it's explaining why I have to do this, why this is what I'm intending. The High Priestess just came out. So you see, I'm just kind of like holding cards, and whatever I'm compelled to do, to shuffle or not shuffle, I will simply roll with it. High Priestess, it's interesting because this High Priestess card, this is all about clairvoyance, but deep within is where we actually see the egg. The egg is representing the birth of something new within someone. Off to the side of her, we see the lily, and that's representing like the death. It's as if someone is saying, I think somebody feels like they have an opportunity for better luck. They have to go somewhere, because even though they're walking into the unknown, where they've been, do you see how she's hovering above an entire city? What someone has realized is that they're listening to something that is pulling them, into the unknown, because where they are, they have no more creative spark. They have no more, there's nothing that feeds them anymore. And that could be very difficult, particularly if it's somebody changing something in their life, moving away from, their family heritage, their lineage, the people. I feel as if that sitting on that couch, having that conversation, even letting the sunlight filter in on the edge of the couch, it's like representing, like, the person's not sitting in that sliver of sunlight yet, but they're going to. Where they've been, it's like it doesn't work anymore. They can't sit in the shadow and be seated anymore. And they're explaining that. They're explaining, I got to step into something new. Yes, it's the unknown, but I need to shed light on the unknown. I need to shuffle another card here. Something has the word exsanguinated is in my mind. And it goes along with that lily that we see here. The aspect of something that is dead and gone. We're burying something that there just is no more vitality to be had here. Instead, the life force that someone wants to explore is the life within them, the life that they haven't yet let blossom, is what I want to say. Let's see. Tell me more about this. I don't know who is leaving. Who is leaving? We have the Tower. Major change here, and the Tower is it's built on all kinds of memories that have been strained, expectations of almost like someone was maybe forced to live out other people's dreams, goals, expectations that they held for them. There's an elephant here that is holding up. Really, it's not just a tower. It's a cross. It's almost like someone has been carrying on their back someone else's morality, someone else's judgment, someone else's belief system. This tower is saying that someone can't operate based off of another individual's ideas, outdated ideas of how things are supposed to be. Something has to fall apart here. This elephant is, it doesn't even look the way it used to anymore. The memories are strained. The memories aren't what they used to be. It became something where it's like, we don't even remember why we do this. We just do it because that's what the rules are. But those rules are outdated. It's a different timeline. It's a different life. It's someone is breaking away from someone else's set of guidelines. That's what's falling here. Next to that, we have the devil. And the devil in this case, it's when our mind gets twisted. It's when we wind up basically taking a thought process that might be an excellent thought process, but then we wind up overworking it, like overworked bread dough, and then the bread doesn't get fluffy and rise nicely. Instead, you harm the yeast, and now you've got this hard, tough, like, football of bread instead of something that, has the right chewy texture. In this case, the devil is when we turn things over and over and we take something that could be really good, but we suck all the good parts out and we make it difficult. It would be the equivalent of like our joy is gone out of it. We've chewed the bubble gum too long and there's no more sweetness in it anymore. It also isn't chewy the way it should be anymore. But in this case, we're talking about someone's mindset has actually gone from, oh, I feel good about fitting into this group and doing the things that, I've been taught to do or believe in, to saying, I feel like if I deviate at all and express my independence at all, I feel like I'm made to feel like a monster. This doesn't feel good to me. So all the things that I used to believe in have now been things that I want to rebel against, and that rebellion makes me feel unhappy. This is the devil of confine of the mind. It's and I think that all this is really false. So whatever somebody has been feeling guilty about leaving behind and breaking away from, they're finding a way to explain why they have to break away. Why do they not believe in these things anymore? Why do they have to go a different direction? As I mentioned, I'm not reading anything in the reverse in this entire reading, but we have a 3 of Swords here. And this 3 of Swords, oh my gosh, talk about a scenario where it is, you can take something that should be a moment that we celebrate, that we are able to transform. But if we stop the transformation, if we will not grow, if we will not let a transformation happen, we stop the entire process, and that creates the heartbreak. So in this situation, we see this butterfly woman, and she's like a butterfly that's been captured and pegged. So she'll always be able to be seen and be looked at, but she can't fly anymore. That essentially is ruining the ability for any further transformation. Just like the birth, the maturation, and the death process is actually all a really beautiful series of things that is supposed to happen. Even relationships have, birth and maturation, and then sometimes they fade away. But if we won't let something fade, we actually can really prevent ourselves from going through what is intended to be a metamorphosis. It's not about heartbreak and betrayal. It's about moving through this phase and gaining something out of it. But we've stopped ourselves from really being able to go through it. And to see this, we've been putting on a happy face to the rest of the world. And that has also been something that has prevented us. We might have put lots of social media images out there where everything's happy, happy. We, act like we believe in things, or we support ideas that we don't really support. We wind up creating a false persona, and all of that is to avoid dealing with the fact that we want to transform, we need to transform, but we're stuck in an old pattern based off of someone else's rules and regulations that they put in motion, and they told us this is the way it needs to be. That doesn't work for someone anymore. And I'm going to go back to that idea that I think someone is sitting down, possibly talking to a family member, possibly an elder, and explaining, I know you're going to be disappointed with the choice I'm about to make, but I have to make this. I'm not happy where I am. I'm not happy knowing that you're going to be like disapproving of me, but it's even worse for me to stay in a situation and pretend to be happy when I'm not. Someone is coming to this conclusion. Someone is leaving behind a very unhappy set of circumstances. We have the Moon card and we have the Six of Swords. This Moon card, the Moon is always, for me, Piscean energy, but it's always about revealing things that have been hidden. In this case, it's not really even, the Moon isn't what you think it is. The Moon isn't what it appears to be. In this case, the Moon is crumbling and eroding anyway, and we have birds nesting in it. It's almost like our thoughts are like those birds that have been hidden in here, and you can only keep them locked up for so long before they start, pecking their way out. That they don't want to be confined in there. Those thoughts can't stay hidden forever. The truth of who we are can't stay hidden forever. And people start to notice. We see these passerbys, and they see some of that erosion. Someone has caught on to the fact that there's a chink in that perfect little veneer that someone has had that allowed them to kind of pretend that they were happy, keep them staying in a place where they felt really stuck, not growing, not able to move on from the heartbreak, too afraid to let go of the rigid belief system that someone else imposed upon them. I feel like this is a story where someone has been living under like a very oppressive set of guidelines that, like a matriarch or a patriarch of the family laid out and said, this is how you live your life. This is how I want to see you behave. And someone has held that power over an individual maybe the majority of their life, and that is not who this person really is. They don't fit into that mold, and their mind knows it. And you can see all we have left is a little bit of a crescent moon. Someone else's thoughts, their thoughts of freedom, their thoughts of wanting to fly away, express themselves differently, have become almost unbearable. So that what the moon is hiding here is the idea that someone's mind is in direct conflict with the way they've been behaving, and their real thoughts are starting to erode that, even the facade that they keep. They might have started to let things slip, have disagreements, start to express themselves a little bit more. And it's making, family members turn, or, whatever the peer group is, turn and be like, oh, wow, I didn't expect you to say that. It's like it's starting to be seen there is another person that lives inside of the veneer that they've been showing to the rest of the world. They don't really agree with certain things. They no longer fit into the group that they've been in, whether it's a family group, whether it's a marriage, whether it's a peer group, whatever this is. Someone's own authentic personality is starting to shine through. Someone is hungry for freedom is what I get. And especially now that we have that Six of Swords. This is somebody's been building an ark, but they've been trying to hide the fact that they've been building an ark. Someone has had a subconscious plan to escape where they are, but to also know that if I do leave, it's probably going to be a big flood. It's going to be a big catastrophe. So I have to have created a safety zone for myself, some way to weather the storm. Because when I do choose to move on from a situation that does not truly suit me, I have to be able to sail away, and I have to know that I can weather, the disappointment and the disapproval of my peer group, my family members, my, ex, or whatever this situation is. This is someone who has been planning this for a while, because they've known They've known that where they were didn't suit them. It's been eroding day by day, and it's eroding really rapidly right now. Literally, we have all of these like little meteorites falling off of the moon. And it's interesting because someone is even picking these things up and carrying them away, almost like it's becoming more and more impossible for them to refrain from speaking their truth. Maybe they're meeting other people that they agree with a little bit more, and they're being almost encouraged by maybe their guides, or maybe friends, or maybe other individuals that they resonate better with, and they're almost being encouraged to like, come on, let yourself come out of that shell, reveal who you truly are, let yourself change your circumstances. It's not so scary. You'll be all right. Move on from the thing that doesn't work for you. In this case, this whole reading so far has been someone wants to reveal the fact that they have felt very stuck, very brokenhearted. They've stayed right where they were for far too long under someone else's set of guidelines for their life. And that ability to stay there, it doesn't work anymore. This is falling away. It's crumbling like really rapidly. And we're getting to the point where someone is ready to set sail, knowing full well there will be fallout from this change, but ready to do it anyway. And all of this is, it's funny because that Six of Swords, that arc that they've built is actually being held up by feathers. This person is going to feel so much lighter when they do go ahead and let themselves set sail. Someone has, I do think that this is almost like the timing hasn't been right until now. This is all about kind of some divine guidance, perhaps. But I'm going to go quiet for just 1 second longer, because now that we have all of that storyline out, I want to go back around to what else is happening with that person sitting on a couch. I don't know if we're going to pick that up right where I left it, but just a moment. I'm going to go quiet on you. It's funny because now I see somebody unpeeling an orange, like unpeeling the layers, revealing something, but it's actually done with kindness. It's like to share the orange. Somebody wants to actually express something. There's why would you have this beautiful orange and never eat it? Why would you have something like that? It's almost like somebody is trying to reassure an individual, like, even though I'm going to leave, I'm going to do things my way, you're going to see different sides of me, things that I haven't shown to you, but it's not something that I'm intending to hide. I actually want to be open. I actually want to share this. I don't want it to be something that you can't see it. And that I would gladly share these segments of my life with you and all that nice juiciness. But I have to be allowed to first unpeel the orange. If someone had been like I feel like it's been a look but don't touch kind of thing, like they were allowed to do anything so long as they didn't really make a significant change in their lives. Like maybe they were permitted to be interested in, maybe it's a different cultural thing. You're allowed to, date in a different culture, but you can't marry that person, and someone is saying those rules aren't going to apply to me. I'm not just going to look at the orange. I'm going to, unpeel that part of my life. And if I choose something else, I don't want to have to hide it from you so that you can stay comfortable in whatever belief system you think is correct, because you don't get to impose your beliefs so that I have to play it out and make it look the way you want it to. That's kind of what I feel like in this storyline. This is somebody who is really finding their own comfort zone with expressing who they are, not feeling like they have to fit into someone else's comfort zone. This is very much a sense of freedom. This is very much a sense of moving forward in life. Page of Swords. This Page of Swords, it's so this Page of Swords, I see this in a couple different ways, okay? And bear with me because they're not all great. The Page of Swords typically is a scenario where if somebody is making that announcement, like, hey, I'm unpeeling this, I'm going to let you see like what I really want to do with my life, and you're going to have to be okay with it, but I'm not trying to shut you off. I'm not trying to, never have any conversation with you again. I'd like you to still be a part of my world, but I'm going to do things my way now. this Page of Swords, someone's attention is turning to what they want next. They're gathering information about what they want. They're looking at something. And this Page of Swords is actually on the move. Now, the interesting thing about this is that this little contraption that they're moving in is almost like a urinal. So it's I gotta say, this person is, there's an element of like a toilet here. They want to move on from a situation that they feel is kind of like, this has not been where I want to be. There's been you see that all the chess pieces here. Somebody has felt like every move they made had to be calculated all the time. Somebody wants to move on from that. That is like a toilet way to behave. Like, I want to flush that part of my life away. Now, they're still kind of in this element right now. But they are aware of it enough to say, I need to move forward. And it's funny because it's both a urinal and it's also like a pipe. So we have this very like, and of course these are like very traditional images from like surrealism and Dadaism. So there's a reason for this as far as the artistry goes. But this is, how do I say this? What somebody is looking for is a way out of a world that has felt pretty nonsensical and pretty uncomfortable. So they are looking at a situation knowing that where they have been has been rules where things were black and white, but you could secretly bend rules if you wanted to, as long as you don't let anybody know. There was lots of kind of shabby behavior, lots of things that things weren't what they seemed to be in this person's world, and they are looking for something truthful. The Page of Swords is seeking knowledge. They want a way out of this. They're trying to find a way out of that kind of environment. And then we have this King of Cups. And again, I'm only reading this in the upright in this deck. Somebody wants to actually allow what's inside of them to come out. This is, I feel like when somebody does open up, you can see his head is actually elevated off of his body. You can see his chest is cracked wide open and there's like a beehive that's come out of it. There is so much that has been suppressed within this person. When they give themselves permission, when they find the place that does make sense, a place where they're allowed to express who they are, there's so much to say, there's so much to feel that has been, I feel like, under pressure for so long. I think that this person, it's funny because they show up with their briefcase and their umbrella and they're in their top hat. It's like they show up still looking on the external like they are, very organized, very structured, but when they start to reveal and open up even a little bit of how they really feel, it like I said, it's like a whole beehive inside their chest. There's so much here that someone has been feeling. Where their neck used to be, there's a candle burning. There are so many words that somebody needs to say, wants to say. And we keep seeing like an element of flying away, elevating. It's like their emotions to get this off their chest, to let all these things out. I just feel like it's this huge sense of like a pressure valve being released in the nicest of ways. So many things, so many thoughts they've never been able to express, so many wonderful emotions they've not been able to freely share. Whoever this is, look, my overall takeaway from this entire reading is about someone who is trying in the nicest of ways to exercise their personal freedom, to move away from whatever confining situation they were in. And I feel like it involved someone else's belief system that really pressed heavily on them. Someone else's, and I feel like it had to do with the whole family's belief system. A family had a plan for this person from birth to death. This is how you're going to do things because this is how it works in our family. And that someone oppressed a person in every aspect of how they express themselves, what kind of a job they're supposed to have, how they behave in society, how, who they represent in a community. Maybe it's down to who they marry, who they stay with, who they're allowed to date, where their kids are going to go to school, how they're going to be trained, what kind of religious beliefs they're going to have, who they're going to allow themselves to associate with. It could have been any of those or a combination of all of that. But that in this like pressure cooker, and somebody lived that way, I think, for a long time. And they've gotten to the point where they're saying, I feel like I can't keep feeling guilty that I don't want to live this way anymore, because this is what's breaking my heart. This is, that devil energy is like, I keep feeling like anything that I do want for myself, that must be wrong. So then it gets all twisted and I can't even have any joy at all. And I feel like there was one final heartbreak here. This could have been a situation where, okay, so I'm just going to quickly run through this. Again, very freestyle kind of storyline here. But my impression is this. We had a person who their whole life, there were very rigid rules set for them. And I feel like this may be a story where somebody knew that set of rules didn't even work for them. If it's particularly if this is who they had to marry, or, whatever the belief system was. And it could have had a lot of even religious connotations here. Something about like, you sacrifice your own happiness because you get more rewards next time around in the next life, or, whatever the belief system was, it didn't actually suit someone. And yet if they fell in love with someone that didn't maybe fit the mold of what was accepted, they would dip out maybe and try to still have those moments of happiness, but that gets really tainted because there's so much guilt here. So then even something beautiful becomes the devil, right? Something beautiful becomes shameful. It becomes something where then maybe they also treat somebody poorly, the person that they actually love. So they're breaking their own heart. They're breaking somebody else's heart. They're resisting transforming things. They keep up these appearances like they're happy when they're not happy where they are at all. It doesn't have to be about marriage. It could be about any belief system. It could be about anything where somebody stays where they don't. It's just a suppression of what someone really wanted to be and who they really are. And it always hurts to have to suppress who we are, right? And out of fear that we'll be so rejected from our peer group. But no matter what, there was one final heartbreak. That Three of Swords, this was the final thing. The final thing, and maybe it's because they hurt one particular person. We do see kind of someone who's been really injured in this butterfly, this thing that they know that this moment could have transformed their entire life. And they instead of taking that beautiful butterfly and, loving it and enjoying it and seeing it fly free and flying with it, they pegged it to the wall, and they did a lot of damage to someone here. And they acted like it didn't even matter. And I think that was the big blow. I feel like that's the moment where it's like, oh my God, in living my life through someone else's expectations, not only did I deny my own self, but I hurt someone that I really loved. And then to top it off, I acted like it was just fine. I acted like it doesn't matter. I feel like that was the final thing, because that's where the veneer wears off. That's where the moon card shows up. And all these thoughts in somebody's mind start to actually crumble the secret that they hold within themselves, which is, I want to be free. I can't live like this. I'm hurting people that I actually love in order to stick in with a group that I don't actually identify with. This is crumbling. I am crumbling. My thoughts are like, I can't hold this lie together that I'm happy when I'm not. So I'm going to have to move on from this. And It's liberating and it's also scary. But then where do I go next? Where I go next is the place where I can open up. I can be who I am. I can express myself. Where I have been has been very, I feel like somebody had really confused ideas of what life is, what love is, how to behave. Bad behavior was accepted. Things were black and white, and there were harsh rules, but you can always find a way around those rules. So then is it black and white at all? No, it's just, like I say, we got a urinal here. This is something not super nice. Where they've been has been confusing. And I feel like this person coming from a state of confusion and having to suppress who they are to fit in a situation that didn't suit them and lie about what they did want, but see other people around them operate in conflicting ways. That is why they had to start really looking at the situation, understanding that those were the layers of, it's like when we follow tradition or rules, simply because it's like, well, this is just the way it's done, but it's not really based on anything that makes genuine sense. It's just like power for the sake of holding dominion over someone, instead of, like, rules can be wonderful, right? They give order to things. They do make us make sense of the world, and it can be, there are better ways to do things, right? Ways that are healthier to do things. There are reasons for rules, but this is the scenario where someone lived in a situation where the rules were nonsense. The rules were, you do it this way because I hold power over you and I told you that's how it is. Beliefs around any of that. I'm just trying to give an example of something where you say it's really sacred, but then you don't honor it, but you're still supposed to show it to the rest of the world. So it gets very confusing. And I feel like that was a thing. Somebody thought, this doesn't make sense to me at all. I have all these emotions I want to express. I want to show who I am. So all the contradiction that I have known, I don't want any more of that contradiction. I want to express who I really am freely and openly and lovingly and do what is authentic for me. And maybe not, that hive that we see with the beehive that was in someone's chest. Maybe it's as simple as somebody doesn't want everyone else to decide what's right for this person. They want to decide for themselves. They want to express themselves. And I feel like first somebody wants to just relax in being able to express who they love, who they are, what they think. I feel like this is the first time in someone's life they're going to be able to express this, but it starts with a conversation on a couch. So I'm going to leave this here. I don't know if that makes any sense. It is what it is, and I'm just going to step away from this now and let it be. So, all right, you guys, take care. Mwah.